This is the Dzogchen Sunday Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Whoops, that's the wrong button. Come, let us explore the meditation secret, Non-Duality Explained, followed by Meditate like a Jedi. So, the source text for tonight's lesson is drawn from the Heart Sutra. So, let's read from that bad boy right now. Together, the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, while practicing the deep practice of Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, looked upon the five skandhas and seeing that they were empty of self-existence, said, "Here, Shariputra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness." Hello. Whatever is form is emptiness, whatever is emptiness is form. The same holds for feeling and appraisal, impulse and awareness. And now we come to the root text of this evening's lesson, remedial non-duality. Here, Shariputra, all dharmas or phenomena are defined by emptiness, not by birth or destruction, purity or defilement, completeness or deficiency. So you'll notice that each line contains its opposite: birth and destruction, purity or defilement, completeness or deficiency. And so we see here is a study in opposites. So we're going to launch here like it was a diving board at some big pool, and we're trying to impress the girls with our swan dive. We're going to launch here to my outline. So non-duality only makes sense when seen through the lens of emptiness. Now, superstitious belief or pseudo-intellectual mental gymnastics might be useful for a good many things that might take you many places. But the mastery of the mastery of emptiness is not one of them. The confusion surrounding emptiness and meditation and mindfulness can be easily dispelled when we explore them through the metaphoric lens of neuroscience, which I do all the time, so if you know the words, sing along. We cannot concentrate our way to the mastery of emptiness. We cannot contemplate our way to the mastery of emptiness, for overworking either our dorsolateral or medial prefrontal cortex in the front of our head will so exhaust us that we begin to involuntarily present with symptoms of depression, no less trigger our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. I think you would agree that that's not the experience we signed up for when we decided to meditate. However, it is a common pitfall. Fortunately, Neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Consider the simple spinal cord, which could be described as the hub of our autonomic nervous system. When we set aside the exhausting habit of actively competing against it, and instead passively cooperate with this hub of our autonomic nervous system, we find that the anxiety and aggression of our amygdala is calmed, and the empathy latent within our anterior cingulate gyrus is gently stimulated. Sounds great. Sign me up. How do we do this? How do we passively cooperate with the hub of our autonomic nervous system? Simple. It's a two-step process. Here we go. Number one, we will begin with our friend and my friend and yours, Mr. Mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we have evolved to automatically access the middle third of our spinal cord, which could be described as the hub of our sympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. It has evolved to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. All of them, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. But what are we to do with all this stuff that we notice? The one word answer to that is meditation. You see, every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we have evolved to automatically access both the tippy top of our spinal cord as well as the very bottom. These two regions working together as a team can be described as the hub of our parasympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release during each exhalation to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and even as non-graspable as a vast empty void. My fourth grade teacher insisted that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. Therefore, we have to ask the question, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky and a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, could feel non-graspable to the hand? And so we see that whether we are talking about no self or whether we're talking about emptiness, these are just figures of speech, metaphors, used to describe the fleeting experience latent within each exhalation. Well, if it's fleeting, how do we master emptiness? Simple. We master the path. We follow the path vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. We come to viscerally accept the fact that life is a maelstrom in perpetual motion. This does not take a great leap of faith. We see change all the time in the natural world, do we not? We see the coming and going of the seasons. the waxing and the waning of the moon, the rising and the setting of the sun. And right now you can rest your fingertips upon your rib cage. And as you breathe in, you can feel it swell. And as you breathe out, you can feel your rib cage sink. Ever changing, one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. This is not something to be believed. This is not something to be theorized. It's something to be observed viscerally. The path of the scholar leads not to enlightenment. That is reserved for the path of the yogi. A yogi is not one who grows their hairs long and dresses absurdly, but one who practices the Buddha's teachings viscerally. Now, I promised you that emptiness would reveal non-duality. Allow me to do that right now. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever beauty or ugliness we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was melting into the simplicity of just a sight. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever harmony or discord we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was melting into the simplicity of just sound. Hello. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever pleasurable or painful emotions we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if they were melting into the simplicity of just emotion. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever kind or cruel intentions we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if they were melting into the simplicity of just intention. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever pleasurable or painful memories we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if they were melting into the simplicity of just a memory. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever peaceful or dynamic fantasies might have cartwheeled across the stage of our mind during our previous inhalation could feel as if they were melting into the simplicity of just an imagining. And so we see that, so let's now go back to the outline. Ooh, the outline is right here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. And so we see that emptiness is the common denominator of all that we perceive. Emptiness helps us to reframe everything, not through belief, not through theorizing, but simply by cooperating with our breathing and the effect of our breathing upon our central nervous system. And so we can conclude that emptiness is the birthright of each exhalation. We don't need some pseudo-spiritual bully who is so rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, competitive, and cruel that they say, you're not enlightened unless I say you're enlightened. You don't understand unless I say you understand. We don't need that type of noise in our lives. The Buddha was so convinced of the ease inherent in his path that in the second to the final passage of his discourse, The Four Bases of Mindfulness, he explained that one could master this path in as little as 7 days. Because simply by cooperating with our inhalations and our exhalations, the remaining 6 folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path are quickly mastered. Having completed this evening's lesson, which was drawn from the Heart of Wisdom Sutra, let's return to the Heart of Wisdom Sutra and complete our recitation of it, that we might establish tonight's lesson firmly within the context. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no appraisal, no impulse, and no awareness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, and no mind. No shape, no sound, no smell, no taste, no feeling, and no thought. No element of perception from eye to conceptual consciousness. No causal link from ignorance to old age and death. No end of causal link from ignorance to old age and death. No stress, no source, no relief, no path, no knowledge, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, without attainment, Bodhisattvas take refuge in Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, and live without walls of the mind. Without walls of the mind, and thus without fears, we see through delusion and attain nirvana. Let's make sure that's fitting on the screen appropriately. Cool, let's continue. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, also take refuge in Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom. Realize unexcelled, perfect enlightenment. We should therefore know the great mantra of Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, the great knowledge mantra, the unexcelled mantra. One moment, if you please. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, also take refuge in Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, and realize an excelled, perfect love and letting go that is, that is enlightenment. Where is parentheses? Here we go. Oh boy, let's try that again. Cowabunga. And realize the unexcelled perfect love and letting go that is enlightenment. We should therefore know the great mantra of Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, the great knowledge mantra, the unexcelled mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, which heals all suffering and is true, not false. The mantra of Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, is thus spoken. Gate gate, para gate, parasam gate, buddhi swaha. Gone, gone, perfectly and completely gone, to enlightenment may it be so. Or in other words, may all beings master releasing, perfectly releasing, perfectly and completely releasing into liberation. Thank you for tolerating my live edits. Now, you have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. For Meditate Like a Jedi is made possible thanks to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this evening's live stream, let us sit and breathe and notice and relax. Okay, so we've got about, let's see here, let's do some math. Let's see, 55 minus 20 is 35, and we'll make that 36, 34. Divide that by 3, and so we'll call that 11 minutes each. Woof. The most efficient way for us to gently invite our subtle energies to coalesce in our lower abdomen is for us to touch each little finger to its thumb, and then to twist our hands so they're palms up, and then rest our right hand in our left and touch our thumbs together. And now rest our hands palms up in our lap. Okay, our thumbs still touch. This time we're going to touch the right index finger to its thumb, the left index finger to its thumb. Doing so helps us, I'm not sure if you can see that over here. Sorry guys, here we go. Right hand is in the left hand. Thumbs are touching. Simultaneously, the right index finger touches its thumb. Left index finger touches its thumb. Doing so gently invites our subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head. Don't be shy. Listen to your body. When it's time to adjust your legs, do so. You don't get any extra points for cultivating arthritis. Woof. The most efficient way to gently invite our subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head is for us to touch the tip of our left middle finger to its thumb. Let's try this again. And the tip of our right middle finger to its thumb. Touch the thumbs, palms up in your lap. Oopsie. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's morning recitation, explanation, and practice of Meditate Like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.